So if you guys you can remember where we left, we were at a point where we were introducing that is the if statement in a while loop, so that we can put a break. And by the way, someone to confirm that I'm audible enough on your end. Yeah, okay, I can see. So yeah, I think we left at a point where you were introducing a break in a while loop. Simply because we said that the while loop will will continue to execute as long as the condition is true. So and we saw how we can introduce a break using the if statement. So you were saying, let's say like this, we can just do a recap here. Let me just copy that code and paste it here. Oops. So this is the code. We are initializing I to 1, and then we say while I is less than 6, we want to print the value of I, or maybe we can just change this one to some text. I know uh, how to code in Python, right? So when we introduce without the break here, if we try to run these, let's see what will happen. So you notice that we are printing this text or this sentence how many times? That is 5 times. Simply because we are printing as long as this condition is true. So, and you notice that we said how this while loop works is it will keep executing. So the first, it will execute this block of code for the first time. Then it checks if now the value of I will be 1 plus 1, so is 2. So again, it checks if 2 is less than 6. If it is less than 6, it will print. After it prints, then it goes back. It takes now 2 plus 1, which is 3, which is less than 6. So and then it prints this block of code. So it will repeat that as long as this condition is true. So and I must be less than 6. That is why we are printing this statement 5 times. Because now the sixth time 6 will not be less than 6. So we said now that we can introduce a break so that maybe we can print this statement maybe 3 times when we introduce a break. So we can say now if I is equal to, I think you guys you can remember this double equal here. It's a comparison. This one is a comparison operator. So and what we are doing here, we are saying that if I is equals to 3, then we need a break. So meaning that it will just print 3 times. So let's run this, and now you notice that we are just printing this statement 3 times. You can also change this one to the value of your choice. Maybe you can put 4. And when you try to print, now we are going to have a break after printing the fourth this statement the fourth time. That is how while works. I don't know if there is any question. Thumbs up if you are together up to that point. Good. I can see most of us we okay with while loop. So I said in Python we have two loops. We just have two loops. We have while loop and for loop. So and if you guys you allow me now, I think I can confidently go to for loop. So let's check for loop and how it works. And we are saying a for loop is used for iterating over a sequence. And that sequence can be either a list, a tuple, a dictionary, a set, or maybe a string, right? And we are saying that this is less like uh, the four the four keyword in other programming languages. So meaning it's just quite similar to how it is used with other programming language. It works more like an iterator method as found in other object-oriented programming languages. So if maybe you have knowledge on another programming languages, you might have found uh, this word here, iterator, especially if you have covered uh, is it JavaScript? You have done some JavaScript, you might have found these iterator word. So with for loops, it's just iterating over a sequence. And like the while loop, where we say that while loop will execute a set of statements as long as the condition is true. So with the for loop, we are just iterating as now you are iterating over a sequence of items. And we're seeing those items, they can be in a list, they can be in a tuple, they can be in a dictionary set, or maybe a set of strings. So we are saying with the for loop, we can execute a set of statements once for each item in the list, tuple, set, etc. So let's see how we can use for loop in the list, how we can iterate items in a list. And in fact, this one is I think we had covered these when we were checking strings, right? If you guys you can remember how we were iterating a string and printing each letter at a time. So the same applies with the list, with tuples and the dictionary. So we can again have a list here, a list of fruits, and then we can now iterate this item in this list. So we just have to introduce a variable that is maybe called x, and this x will hold temporarily each item in this list during the execution. So when you say for x in fruits, and then we print x, we are going to print these. I think we saw these, but let me just copy that and paste it here. Uh, Maybe we can give a comment here and say looping using for loop. So it's just easy. You just have to have the list of items that you want to iterate, and then for x in the name of your items you want to iterate, and then you print X. So if we just run these, we should be able to print out all the items in our list here. It's just that easy. It is just that easy. We can just maybe add something like we can have mango, we can have melon. So, and when you just try to run these, you see that you are able to be able to iterate these. You can also try maybe to create a what? Let's see. I think that is basically that. Even with the dictionary, it will just be the same. With the sets, it will be the same. With the race, it will be the same. So there is no need of me repeating myself. Um, so let's see what we have. What else we have in these? And you are saying that looping through a string. So, and I think we saw these, right? I think we implemented these. However, you are trying to loop through the letters in a string. So, like saying for X in this string, banana, and then we print all the letters in these things. So we can maybe try to execute these and see the output. If we just try to execute that, you can see that you are able to print all the letters in. Let me show you things. We can have looping through, looping through, string using for loop. I think that is it with the for loop. I don't think we have something else to add on that. Also with for loop, you can introduce a break, by the way. It's just it's just same as in while loop. You can also introduce a break so that maybe let's say maybe you want to loop up to where banana is, and we don't want to print this cherry and any other item past banana. So we can just say for X in fruits, then we say if now X is equals to banana, we have a break. So meaning that we are going just to print up to this point. If we can run this, let's see it in action. Let's run that. And now you notice that we are just printing apple, right? Simply because during the looping, we looped apple, and then we are saying that if X is equals to banana, then we just have to break, meaning that we are just going to have the first item here. You can also maybe use cherry, and when we try to run that, you notice that now we are getting the first two elements in our list here. In fact, using for loop is very easy. Looping through using a for loop is usually very easy. I don't know if I have another example to. I think that's all with for loop. That's all with for loop. I don't know if there is any question. Do you have any question, Erickson?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
You're good on your side.
Yeah.
Lynn, are you okay on your side?
Yes, I'm fine.
Good. So now, after learning those loops, there is another what? There is another concept in programming that is called functions. I think you guys have heard me talk of functions, inbuilt functions. But there is a way you can create a function in Python. You create your own function, leave alone now the inbuilt functions in Python programming language. You can create your own function. And what is a function? We say that a function is a block of code which only runs when it is called or invoked. So meaning that you can maybe you can create a function and it will not run until you call it. So you can have, I think, so let's say before even we get to the syntax of creating a function, we say that you can pass data known as parameters into a function. We are going to see that. And we are saying that a function returns data as a result. So meaning that when you create a function, it should be specifically for doing a certain task. And that is why we are saying that a function can return data as a result. So meaning that it must be doing something for it to return some results. Maybe you can have a function to add three numbers, five numbers, and now when you run it, it will just calculate the sum. It will calculate maybe the product of three numbers, etc. So giving out the results. So we are saying that creating a function now. Let's see how we can create a function in Python. And we say that in Python, a function is defined using the keyword def. And this one is from something they call define or definition, def. I think it should be the shortcut for definition. So def keyword. This is the keyword that we use to create a function in Python programming language. So an example that we have here, the print function. The print function, this one is an inbuilt function. This one is an inbuilt function in Python, and that is why we just call it. You print, and then you just pass what you want to print. But now let's see how you can create a custom function in Python. And this is the syntax here. I think I can just create the syntax here. Syntax. Should be syntax. Syntax. So we always start with the keyword def, and then the function name. The function name, and then parentheses, and then we must add a colon. And then below this, now we have the statements to execute. These are the statements now to execute. So this is basically the syntax for creating a function. We start with the keyword def, the function name, and by the way, when creating a function name, it's always good to name your function something that is so some reasonable names. You can't call these, let's say, what? We can, okay, let me just, if let's say maybe we are doing, we are creating a function to do the product of several numbers. So we can call that function, or let me say, we have a function to do, what function can I have? Let's say maybe I'm trying to do an M-Pesa integration. M-Pesa underscore integration, M-Pesa integration. So let's say maybe I'm doing some M-Pesa integration within this function. So I can call it M-Pesa integration, right? And then I should have now the statements that will help me to do the M-Pesa integration. So anything that will run in this function, it's anything to do with the M-Pesa integration. All these, we have a number of statements that will help me to do the M-Pesa integration. If you are doing, let's say, a function to do maybe the product, or maybe a, a function to connect to the database, you can have def, call it database. We can have database underscore connection. Again, this one can be a name of your function. If at all now you are doing some database connection, etc. You can have a number of functions. So these are just samples. So anytime you are writing your what anytime you want to write your code in a function, then it's always good to name your function what it does, or the name, the purpose of, you call that function the purpose of it. I think that is it. So those were just examples of functions names. But now this is the syntax: the def function name, parentheses, colon, and then the statements to execute. Let's see an example here. Let me see. We have been writing this program of print hello world, right? So let me just copy this so that I can explain it well. I think I can have this one in a different cell. Let me just try to clear this output here. Below these, yeah, I think I can use the last cell here. And let's say here we have Python functions. And just do away with that and then comment this. So initially we have been doing a print of these. Let me comment out this first. We have been doing like this, a print, and then what we want to print, maybe hello. Is it hello from, or hello world? We have been doing this, right? And we are going to see the output hello world. But again, now we can have we can have this print statement inside a custom function. And that is what we are trying to do here. We have the def, and let's name these, we can name these greetings. So let's name these greetings. And then inside these, now let's have this print of ours here, which is hello, hello what? Hello world. But now if I run this, when I run that, you notice that I didn't get an output, but the function is just right. It's functioning well. But when I run this, I can't see any output. Who can give me the reason as to why I'm not getting the output? Maybe someone can try out. What could be the reason why I'm not getting the output? When I run this, I can't see any output. And in fact, it is executing. We have Carl. Manu, can you help us? Yeah.
Maybe the function,
Yeah.
you need to print the function for it to show.
For it to show. But in the
Yeah.
function I'm already printing hello world.
Maybe that's just to show what the function is supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
Then so we print maybe greeting.
Printing. Should I now print print the greetings? This one.
Yes.
This is now Manu. Any other person? I can just write Manu there. Any other person who thinks any other person who have a different opinion as to why we are not getting the output? Any other person to try out? Who is willing to try out? Who else is willing to try out? Let me see what we have in the comment section here. I have, I think, so someone is saying that function, that is Joseph. Function not called. Yes, Joseph is saying that the function is not called. I have someone else saying that this is currently saying that the function does not have an argument. We have Shirley Ombogo saying that I think greetings is not a function. Those are some of the answers that I'm getting by the way from the in-call messages. You can continue writing. So, and I think this is Joseph. Joseph said that the function is not called. When I was when I was introducing this function, thing we said that we said something here. I think Carl has corrected himself by saying remove the print function and just put the greeting on my on my answer. Yeah. you're going to do that, Manu. But this is the reason as to why the function is not given as the result. We are saying that a function is a block of code which only runs when it is called, right? So meaning that after writing this function, we must call it. That is why Mando is saying that we just remove the print part, and we just leave it like that. So this is how we call our function. Also, Joseph was right when he said that the function is not called. So meaning that this is how now we call a function. I think you can just indicate that you are calling the function here. Calling the function. We just call the function by calling the function name. This one is very simple because it doesn't have any parameters. But in case we are going to see the one with some parameters. But this one we just call it with 0 parameters. So when now we run these, you notice that now we are getting the hello world simply because we have called our function. Let's have another one here. We can have def let's have this one. I think this one is an interesting one, whereby we have a function that is called adding, and we are adding. So you notice that in this case now we have values, and these are what we are calling parameters. So we are passing some parameters here, a and b. And what do we want to do with a and b? We want to find the sum of a and b. So, and that is what we are doing inside this function. So we have sum underscore is equals to a plus b. Then we print the answer. But again, if we just try to run this, you notice that again we are getting just hello world. That is from these greeting. So let's now call these. I think you can just call this function here, just below this. So we can have adding. When we call adding like this, we are going to get, of course, you are going to get an error. Let's just run this and see the error. So if you guys, you can see here, we are saying that adding missing required positional argument. That is A and B. So meaning that for it to run, we must add some positional arguments, right? So, and the number of arguments that you are going to pass here will be the exact number of parameters that we defined when we were creating this function. So in here we can add some numbers. We can add a 12 and a 45. So, and now when we just run this now, when we run these, we should be able to get the answer. You notice that you are getting the output from greetings, and also we are getting the answer, that is after adding 12 and 45. So I don't know if you guys you can see that, but this is a parameterized function, and we have two parameters. So any question? Okay, thumbs up if you are good. I can see most of us are okay with that. You can just try to create a different function here that may be find the product of numbers. We can have a function that is called product. And in this case, I want to add like four parameters. So these are what we call parameters. That is A, B, C, and D. So for me to find the product here, I'll just have to multiply all the numbers. That is C and D. So then I'll just print the product. So when calling this function, I should pass how many numbers of arguments. They should be 4. So when creating a function, these are called parameters. And when now adding the actual values, when calling this function, they are called arguments, right? So let's just try to run this, and you can see that I'm getting the answer is 20,736. That is how you can create a function with parameters. And also by there you can modify the output we are getting here. We can say maybe uh, this is the product, the product of the 4 numbers, the product, or you can say the product of A, comma B, comma C, comma D. And then maybe we can just have a comma, then we just have the product. No, I think with this we just have the plus. Is it a plus really, or you just leave it like that? I try to confuse this with I think it should be a comma, yeah, with other programming languages. So when we run this, you notice that you are getting the output as the product of A, B, and C. We can say is, and then we have the product. And now you notice that we have the output as the product of A, B, C is this. You can also do the same with the sum. Yeah, I think that's all with the functions. So I don't know if we have any question on that. Any question? Thumbs up if we are together. I can see Amos, you're good. I can see Lynn, Joseph, Gil, Kezia, yeah, Gilbert. Yeah. What about Grace? Yeah, you can see also Grace is okay. So I think that's all about functions. I think I've covered everything with functions. These are just I think this is just the theory part of it. But I think I've explained that because we are saying that arguments, information can be passed into functions as arguments. And we are saying that arguments are specified after the function name. So inside the parentheses. I think we have already said that. Then we are saying that you can add as many arguments as you want. Just separate them with a comma. So what else should we cover? I think that's all, by the way. Yeah, that's all about functions. That's all about functions. Yeah. So let's get to, if no question, let's get to the other part of our discussion. Let me just try to upload lecture 5. Let me just try to upload lecture 5. I think now with those basics, you can, I think you can create something with the loops. Let me get to lecture number 5. I don't know why my machine is slow. Let's get this. But then that was the first part. In fact, always the first week we always cover the basics for Python programming, and then what we are covering today should have been covered from Monday, because now we are getting to a different thing. But I think we were a bit fast in how we covered the Python basics. So if you have any question on Python basics, I think you should ask it right now before we get to some different thing. I think this one is totally different because we are getting now to libraries that are used in libraries in Python that are used in data analysis. So do we have any question on any question? Any question on the basics of Python? I think silence means no. And if you can see my screen from your end, you can see that I'm about to introduce about pandas. I'll not cover much in these pandas. I'll not cover much, but pandas is a Python library that is used for working with data sets. And I will say that pandas is rich in functions that are used for data analysis. So from pandas is where we are going to get functions for cleaning data, exploring data, manipulating some data. Yeah, because I think the purpose of this course was to help you analyze data using Python. So we are going to see how pandas plays part in data analysis. And I think having that introduction, I think we can get into how it is installed. And yes, I think you can get into how it is installed in your machine. So if you're using Colab, you don't have to install it; it is pre-installed. But if you're using VS Code, you must install this. And we have a package management tool that is called pip in Python that is used to install that is used to install these packages or these libraries. It's called pip. It's called a package management tool. So we have pip. So if you're using a VS Code, you can just use pip install pandas. But if you're using Colab, it is already installed. So it is already installed. You can also when you install in Python in your local machine, I think there is a box that you are supposed to check so that it can install these automatically. That is the pip, this package management tool. So, but I'm assuming that most of us are using Colab. So I think having said that, uh, we can see how we use the pip. I mean the pandas, and in fact, the first step to use pandas after installing it, we start by importing it. We import pandas. We import pandas. We always start by importing pandas, and then, in fact, the main purpose of these pandas is that it will help us to convert these. It will help us to convert dictionaries to something we call data frames, and also it will help us to convert any data, be it a CSV file, be it an Excel file. It will help us to convert that data to data frame. I think you are going to see what is data frame. So let me just show you an example here. I don't want to dig much in this. This is supposed to be covered on Monday. So let's have just a simple example here. And you notice that I'm starting by importing pandas. Import pandas. We always import pandas as PD. Instead of using the pandas word in your program, you can import it as PD. We say import pandas as PD. Then of course, now you can see this one is a. I don't know if you guys you can tell me. Can you see this? Can you see this one is a dictionary? This is a dictionary whereby we have cars. Cars is the key here, and then we have a list of cars, and then we have the persons, which is the key here, and the values you can see there in a list. And then we have the color. You can also see this one is a color is a key, and now this one is a, and now these are the values of colors. Also, again, they are in a list. So basically, what we are doing here is that trying to count the number of times a car passes, maybe on a certain road. So in this case, you are saying that a BMW passes that route 3 times. We have Volvo passing 7 times. We have Ford passing 2 times. And in fact, BMW is blue in color. We have Volvo is green in color, and then we have Ford is yellow in color. So this data is represented in form of a dictionary, right? I think you can remember that. You can remember how you are creating a dictionary. This is a dictionary. But now, there is nothing much we can do with this data in this form. Nothing much you can do with this kind of data in this form. So what we normally do with pandas, first step is always to convert this dictionary data into something we call data frame. And data frame is just a representation of this kind of data in a table format, so that we are able to access the columns, we are able to access the rows of data and such. So we should be able to convert this one to a data frame using now the pandas. So I think we can just call these let's call this dictionary data set, or we can just call it cars. Let's have it as cars. And now for us to convert these to data frame, we're just going to say that we always have this short form of DF to mean data frame, but you can give it the name of your choice because in fact this one is a variable, so you can give it the name of your choice as long as you follow the techniques that we used, we checked. So we can call it a DF, and then is equals to, you notice that now we are calling these PD, which is pandas, and then we use the dot operator to call the data frame. And the data frame is a function, and it will always take one argument. And in this case, it's taking these cars what? Taking the cars data. So meaning that we can convert these cars into a data frame. So when we just run these, let me show you something here. I think we can just delete all these. Yes, let's have these. So let's try to print cars. So let's run these. So you notice the kind of data I'm getting here. It's in form of a dictionary. This is a dictionary, and this one is a dictionary, right? But now after passing these cars data in our data frame function here, when we just try now to print this, let's print df, what you are calling df here. And now this one is a data frame. So when we just now print this, you notice that, let me just comment out the first output here. You notice that now our data is arranged in a table format, whereby we have cars, passing, and color as our header. These are what we call the headers, the heads of our columns here. So we have cars, passing, and color. So we have in the cars we have the BMW, we have the Volvo, and the Ford. And then for the passing we have the number of passing each car has done, and the color of that, car. So you can see how relevant this library is in converting dictionary data into a data frame. So a data frame is just this is a tabular representation of our data. So I don't know if there is any question on that. Do you have any question? Thumbs up if you're together. I can see Tuze Bidha is okay, Lynn, Erickson. What about Sylvia? Sylvia, are we together? Sylvia Dikezia. I can see Kezia is okay. What about Sylvia? Caroline is also okay. Sylvia, if you can hear us, are you okay with converting dictionary into data frame? Okay. So I think that's how you can convert. We can convert a dictionary into a data frame. So now with a data frame, with this data frame now we can introduce the functions that are in pandas. We have functions to get the first five what do we call it, to get the first five rows of your data. You can check if your data has null values. You can check if your data has duplicates. All those functions are in pandas. So let's see. I think I can just try to import. Let me just try to import a data set here, or maybe we can use the ones that are available. In this folder that is called sample underscore data, we have a number of data here, where we have the MNIST underscore test. So let's try to read this data, and I'll just copy the path. So you notice that this is converting a dictionary. So let's see how you can also convert this data set here. You notice that it is in CSV file, and we can convert that into a data frame. So let's see how you can read that data and convert it. So let me just have, I think I can have a cell here. Let me just use this cell. Let me just try to, I think I can add a cell here. And we say that we want to read data from a CSV file and convert this into data frame. And we are doing this in, oops. Oh yeah, we are doing that in Python. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay. So let us read this very fast. And it's very simple. The first step here is always to import pandas. We import pandas as PD. That is always the first step. And now for us now to read this CSV file. To read the CSV file, you're going just to have your variable here, which is the df, and we say that df is equals to pd dot read. You notice that we have a number of options here. We have read a CSV file, we have a read Excel, right? And also even you can read HTML. You can also read a JSON file, but in this case we are reading this CSV file. So after that, the read underscore CSV file is a function that will take the path that we have copied. So you just have to put the parentheses, you just have to put the quotations, and then we put the path. And this is how we copy the path. You just have to click these three buttons here, and then you will see options of copying a path. You can copy path, and then you just have to paste it here. So right now we can print our DF again and see what we have. You notice that this is the data that we have. It just look like it looks like this. Maybe I should try to import a data that you guys you can understand. Let me just try to check if I have a data. I think I can plug a data set here. The MBA. Okay. Let's try to read this. Let me just copy its path. Good. Let me copy this and I try to read this. I think this one also it's a large data set. Let me try to look for a simple data set that you are going to. I think I have a number of data sets here. So birth weight. I think this one is the simplest of all. Let me just copy the data path. I should paste this one here. So let's run that. I think this one is also it's a complex one. Don't I have a simple data frame? Let me just try to check this. Just try to run this. I think this one is okay. It just have one. Is it 102? 102 rows. Now you notice that I'm able to read these exercise data, whereby I have exercise type, duration, the calories burned after doing exercise. We have the heart rates, and then we have the dates of the date when that exercise was, the date when that exercise was done. So with now these pandas, we are able maybe to we are able to access various function. Let me say I want just to access the first five rows of data. I can just use now df dot. We use a function that is called head function. So with this one, with the head dot the df dot head will just return the number of the first five. It will return the first five. I think I can print out these. Let me just try to print out these. I think I can print these. I don't know why my computer is slow. So let me just execute this. And now you notice that I'm able just to get the first five columns. I mean the first five rows of my data. So I have, and you notice that this one is starting at 0 to 4. There are so many functions in pandas that will help us to do some analysis on even these data. There is another function that is called we can print the statistical summary of these, whereby we can say maybe print. Let's do print. Let's do a describe of my data. Description of this should be df dot describe. Let's see what we have. I think I can just comment out this. And now you can see that I have the statistical summary of my data, whereby I'm able to see the mean of each column, the standard deviation of each column, the lower and upper quartiles we have there, the maximum in each column, so and such. So that's how we use these pandas. First is to read files, converting those files into data frames. Yeah, I think that's all about. I think that is a good introduction on pandas. I don't know if there is any question on that. Any question? I can see most of us are saying that is okay. Thumbs up if you're good. I can see Erickson is okay. Irene, yeah, good. Yes, I can see most of us are okay with it. So that is how we use pandas. That is basically how we use pandas. We are going to go to we are going to check these functions in details, and also how you can maybe locate. You're going to see how you can locate a row you can locate a row in your data set. How you can locate columns in your data set. These are some of the things that we are going to cover. Checking the maximum, the max row, analyzing some data frames. These are some of the things that we are going to cover. That is on Monday. I don't want to get into details of these right now. So I don't know if there is any question on that. I don't know if there is any question. So again, today is on Thursday, so tomorrow you are expecting a weekly assignment. You will be expecting an assignment that is on the basics of Python. I think you will have a project on how to maybe to creating something using the basics of Python. And then now from that, at least now you have an idea of how these libraries in Python for data analysis works. Yeah, so today I don't want to keep you here. So yeah, if there is no any question, I think you guys we can meet on Monday. There is a question from David. David, question?
Yes.
Yes, ask.
Wanted to ask, in Python, do we have where an user